we're going to do is we're going to do day 2 of 2.2, chapter 2, section 2. And again, we're looking at conditional statements. So we're still working on that 2A standard. If you remember yesterday, we talked about conditional statements. If you remember, those were the if-then statements. We talked about the if, and then right after that is considered the hypothesis. And then we had the then, and after that we had the conclusion. Remember we had that discussion? Okay. And we had certain sentences that we put the if-then into, or we put those sentences into an if-then statement, and we pulled out the hypothesis and the conclusion. Once we got going on that, we went ahead and we talked about the converse. Remember, the converse was the switch of the hypothesis and the conclusion. So we still have the if, we still have the then, but we're flip-flopping those. Okay. And we talked about how the converse is not always true. And so then we went on and we did the third definition, and that was biconditional. So what we did is we took something that was an if-then statement, we wrote the converse. If one of them were false, we could not write a biconditional statement, but if both of them were true, we could. And so we took off the if, right? We took out the then, and what did we put in for the then? If and only if, that's right. Okay? So that was kind of yesterday, and then we had that worksheet, and we did a bunch of examples. We had like 7, okay? Today during work time, if you struggled with that, raise your hand. I'll be around, and I'll help you out with that if you struggled with one of them, because I'm tight, okay? Today what we're going to do is we're going to first start off with a little bit of review from yesterday, and then we're going to extend this, and we're going to add, and we're going to do more things with those sentences, okay? So let's take a look at the first sentence. It says 2 lines that intersect to form a right angle are perpendicular. So I'm going to start off with the word if. If what?
2 lines intersect to form right angles.
Yes, 2 lines intersect to form right angles, comma, yes, very good, then they are, and I'm going to use the symbol for perpendicular. That is an capitalized upside down T. That is perpendicular symbol, okay? You can write out perpendicular, it's fine, but I'm going to use that for our purposes. So if 2 lines intersect to form right angles, then they are perpendicular, because I'm tight. All right, let's go on and let's do the converse. So if what? Yes. Okay. So if, and I'm going to put in 2 lines are perpendicular, if that's all right. If 2 lines are perpendicular, then, yes?
The 2 lines intersect to form right angles.
Okay, I'm going to put they, if that's all right. Then they form right angles. So one thing to be aware of is we establish in this one in particular that I have 2 lines. So the 2 lines are going to come first, kind of like the polygon did yesterday. Remember, we established that we had a polygon, and then we could say things about it. In this instance, we have to establish that we have 2 lines. Okay. We all right? All right, very good. All right, let's see if they're true or not. So the first one, if 2 lines intersect to form right angles, then they are perpendicular. Is that true? That is true. Okay, so that's true. I'm going to put a T there. If 2 lines are perpendicular, then they form right angles. Is that true? That is true. Okay, so are they both true? Yes, they are both true. So now, can I write a biconditional? Yes, because again, if they're both true, I can. So which one do I look at when I do the biconditional? I'm going to look at the conditional. All right, so I'm going to scoot this up. And do I start with if? No. So I'm going to write Good. Two lines intersect to form right angles, comma. Very good. If and only if very good. They are perpendicular. So again, I take the conditional, I take off the if, I take off the then, and I put if and only if where the then was. Questions? Okay, that's kind of what we did yesterday. Now we're going to move on to different vocabulary. All right. Today we're going to learn the word negation. Negation just means that it has the opposite meaning. Okay. So two angles are vertical. I can write two angles are not vertical. Think of it as a 2-year-old. Uh-huh, uh-uh, uh-huh, uh-uh, uh-huh. Okay, they're annoying. They say the same thing, but it's like, uh-huh. Okay. So two angles are not vertical. What about two lines are not parallel? What can I write?
Two lines are parallel.
That's right. Uh-huh. Two lines are parallel. And I'm going to use the parallel symbol. Those are two straight, tall, little line segments next to each other. Okay? Am I going too fast? If I am, tell me. I'm happy to slow down. All right, the ball is red. That's right. The ball is, oops, not red. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Questions? Pretty easy. I think of it as being negative, because if I say something, you're always going to say the opposite. It's a negative feeling. So if you think negation, negative, it kind of helps with remembering. All right. Inverse. Inverse negates both the hypothesis and the conclusion. And you're like, huh? We'll do a couple together. So if I go to the store, then I will walk home. So if I do not or don't, right? Either way, if I don't go to the store, then I won't walk home. I think negations are really easy. They're probably the easiest out of all of them. Questions on that one? Okay. If you are a guitar player, then you are a musician. If you are not or aren't, right? Then you, yes. Last one. If a dog is a Great Dane, then it is large. If a dog isn't a Great Dane, then good. Done. Questions? Okay. Contrapositive, next definition. A contrapositive, it negates the sentence and then it switches the hypothesis and the conclusion. So it's like the converse, but it negates it. Okay? So if I go to the store, then I will walk home. If, now again, this is the hypothesis, this is the conclusion. So if I don't walk home, then I won't go to the store. Yeah.
Do they have to make sense?
They're not always true. So yeah, that's a good question. She said, do they have to make sense? Again, we can write these sentences and they're not always true. Okay, and you go, well, why am I doing it then? Like, why would I ever do this? Where would I ever use this? It's more picking things apart and being able to write things a different way and see things a different way. That's kind of why we're doing it. Can I reword something and it still be true? Okay, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. And they do this in math a lot with unions and intersections. So it's using words to see unions and intersections. And later on, you guys will be seeing that more with graphs. You'll be seeing that more with sets. So this is another like field of math. It's more of a theory based on math. So it's not just number crunching. Math is not just number crunching. There's a whole new field out there that's just theory. Okay? It's so much fun. All right. If you are a guitar player, then you are a musician. So if, what? If you aren't a musician, then you aren't, yes, a guitar player. Gesundheit. Any cool color? There's a new cool color. Okay, last one. If a dog is a Great Dane, then it is large. If a dog, and you need to have dog, right? If a dog isn't large, then it isn't a Great Dane. Oh. We okay? Not okay? I know it's different. It's not what we're used to. All right. Now, let's see how they all put together. This will be like a test. I will give you a sentence. I'll ask you to write the conditional, converse, biconditional. I'll ask for the negation. I'll ask for the inverse. I'll ask for the contrapositive. And they can be in different order. So you kind of have to like, okay, which one is which? Okay. So first of all, soccer players are athletes. So how would I write that as an if-then statement? If someone, can we say is a soccer player? Then, yes, they are athletes. And it's key to get this one right. Now, let's say on your test you get the if-then statement wrong, but the rest of it is right. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? The rest of them will be wrong if the if-then statement is wrong. But I'm not going to like, you're a loser, you're an F. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to see, can you take off the if-then statements and put the if and only if? Do you understand that you switched the hypothesis and the conclusion? I'm looking for the process. Okay, so even if you get the if-then statement wrong and you kind of get the idea of the rest of them, you'll be okay. All right, converse. If, yes, someone is an athlete, then, yes, they are a soccer player. Is the first one true? If someone is a soccer player, then they are an athlete? That is true. Is the second one true? If someone is an athlete, then they are a soccer player? That is not true. So can I do a biconditional statement? No. Now, question. If I were going to write this as a conditional statement or a biconditional statement, how would I do it? What would I say? Yes?
Someone is a soccer player if and only if they are an athlete.
That is correct. So you're going to take the conditional statement, take off the if. Someone is a soccer player, take out the N. If and only if they are an athlete. Very good. Okay? But we can't, so we're not going to. All right, let's keep going. We're going to do the inverse. So if I do the inverse, what am I going to do? I'm going to, what's the inverse?
Break the conditional, just negate it.
And negate it, right. So you're going to go back to the conditional and you're going to negate it. Okay? So I go back up here. If someone is not a soccer player, then they are not an athlete. Period. Capital letter, period. Contrapositive, what do? You switch them, right? Yep. If someone is not an athlete, then they are, yes, not a soccer player. So there's an example where you see all of them kind of together. So you might even want to have this split screened while you do it. It's not hard, but where students mess up is they get inverse and contrapositive flip-flopped. Okay, so in your mind, how do you go about it? I don't know. Contrapositive is a longer word, so you need to do more things with it. I don't know. Where you got to switch it and you got to negate it. You got to do what you got to do. There's one more. Do you want to do one more, or do you just want to go on to the assignment? Assignment? All right. If you want to see that, ask me, and I'm happy to do that with you. But we'll stop this for today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the assignment.